Everybody, a happy Monday. What a glorious Monday it is. Spencer Israel, JC Parets, Steve Strazza, Alfonso de Pablos with you this morning. You wanted to bounce? I'll get your bounce right here. Here's your bounce. It's bouncing. We'll talk about the bounce a little bit. We're having ourselves quite a morning in the U.S. equity futures markets. We'll talk about that. And then we'll see where it goes. As always, we always just see where it goes. I usually have like some sense of like the first thing we're going to talk about, and then I have no idea what's going to happen after that. So that's the plan. We'll have Greg Harmon stop by. We'll have Jason Purry stop by. We'll have Kenny Glick stop by. And yes, that is what we're going to do today. Harmonder, I will preempt your question. We got Steve, audio only today. Audio only with Steve. He'll be back on camera tomorrow, we hope. Fingers crossed. That's the rundown. Let's all drop a like. I would appreciate that. And let's get this show on the road, bring on the boys, and we'll go.
All right. Who's fading Spencer's optimism this morning?
No, you can't.
Christ.
It's unfadable.
Dude, this guy, Strazza, are you hearing this guy right now?
Why? He's happy because Maryland's in the Sweet 16.
Oh, okay. Got it. So it's diluting the giddiness with the basketball. So it's not all market. I thought this guy was like, I thought this is like the next tampon Tim guy. We were going to fade Spencer next. But you're saying that his giddiness is due to basketball.
Am I right, Spencer?
Look at that smile on his face right now. Jesus. Yeah. I don't know that I've ever seen Spencer so happy.
Oh, I had such a great night last night.
I gave Spencer a piece of chocolate cake once, and he was really happy, but not this happy.
Jesus.
This is next level. Okay, so we're not fading Spencer. We're actually generally happy for him actually right now, right?
I'm actually very happy for you.
For the rest of us who don't give a shit about Maryland basketball, like I couldn't care less. I don't hate Maryland, but I really don't care. If it makes Spencer happy, that's good with me.
Well,
right?
Don't you hate Florida, JC?
Am I in Florida?
No, don't you hate Florida, the University of Florida?
The Florida Gators?
Yeah.
Well, they're just so easy to hate.
Okay,
we don't have to go there.
That's my next opponent.
Those are the worst humans. So it's not like I hate them; they just are terrible humans.
That's my next opponent. So
All right, we are Terps fans. Let's go Terps.
Let's go.
Dude, I don't even know what the fuck a terp is. What is it? Like a slower turtle?
It's a snapping turtle. It snaps.
All right.
Yeah. All right.
They better shoot better than they did this weekend. They're going to beat you guys.
Dixon still on the team?
Yeah.
My God.
Yes, he's still on the team. He's 40 years old.
His son might be on the team.
Nice shout out, Juan Dixon.
That's
all right. Can we
Yeah, all right. If you insist.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, we've got the Dow futures up almost 400 points this morning. That's close to a full percent to the upside. That's 42,700, a comfortable 700 points above that key 42,000 level. S&P 500 futures up 1.2%. That's 67 handles to the upside, 57.85. That puts the S&P 185 points comfortably above those levels. And the NASDAQ 100 futures are the ones that we're keeping an eye on, leading the way to the upside, up 1.5%, 20,260. That 500 level for QQQ is the big one for me, so we'll be watching that throughout the week. 30-year bond futures getting hit this morning, down 0.2%, down under 117. Crude oil up again, up 0.5%, 36 cents, 68.5 for crude oil. Copper up a full percent again, 5.16 for copper. Gold up again. Hitting all-time highs, 0.33%, 3,032. Silver up 0.75%, 33.75 with the VIX down slightly, just under 19. And over in funny money land, Bitcoin making moves up to another 1,300 points as we speak, hitting new 2-week highs for Bitcoin, 87,400 for the BTC. Ethereum, we're going to talk about that, pushing 2,100. That's a big level there. Up 3.8% this morning. And then we've got Solana 143 up 7.5%. That's 10 points to the upside for Solana this morning. And that puts the total crypto market cap, Mr. Spencer Israel, 2.2. 2.82
I was gonna
trillion.
say that doesn't sound right.
2.82 trillion, also hitting new 2-week high. So how do we feel about the futures this morning? Basketball aside,
I mean, Steve was the one complaining about lack of a bounce, so ask
Steve
him.
was complaining of a lack of a bounce. See, most countries around the world never corrected, so didn't need a bounce.
Okay.
We're still talking about U.S. stocks.
We're talking about U.S. stocks. See, I'm an Earthling.
Mhm.
I know you're a Floridian,
stop,
and
stop,
things
stop,
get weird.
stop.
Things get weird down in Florida.
You asked how we feel. You asked how we feel about the overnight futures market. We answered, and then you said, "Oh, but actually international."
Yeah, so Spencer, I don't know if they teach this in New Jersey, but you see, international equities also have futures markets.
Yes, but you didn't just cite them just a moment ago.
In 5 minutes this morning, JC has shit on Maryland, New Jersey, and Florida. What else you got?
I have no beef with
Earthling.
Maryland. In fact, Maryland might be one of the best states in the United States of America because of its diversity. It's got so many things. I don't think it's one of the best states, but it can be argued.
Okay.
There's so much going on in the state of Maryland.
There's something there.
I'm telling you. All right. All right. So what stands out in the American futures contracts?
No, jokes aside, it did take a long time for this bounce to materialize into anything. Now we're getting it, and we have to judge it. We got to see where it goes. We got some key levels outlined that we're watching. Now we'll be testing from below. Can we reclaim some big levels? Let's find out this week.
So the big levels for me at this point, with the S&P and the Dow comfortably above that key support, the one holdout here is the Qs. Right now at 488. So still, even with this morning's bounce, still 12 points below that key level. Just to show you the correction was definitely led there. Massive capitulation and outflows out of the Russell 2000 I was seeing this weekend. So that's interesting. Spencer, if you want to throw up slide 3 there, we had the biggest drop in U.S. equity allocation on record.
How do you measure that?
Survey, so people are just fleeing out of U.S. equities. Look at that. U.S. equities in general, technology. Interesting that energy's kind of up there.
What does that mean? How are we measuring this?
This is basically just this is Bank of America telling us what we already knew. Right? All these ratios that you're showing, that the highest.
This is the flow show? Is this their flow show?
Yeah, their flow show. Yeah.
The flow show.
So like when you show these charts of like IFA and like international outpacing the United States at like the fastest rate ever, this is just them telling you that their clients are doing what we're seeing.
Is month over month too noisy? You know what I mean?
I don't think so.
It's only 1 month of data. Well, 1 month of change data, right?
Yeah, but it's the fact that it was only 1 month and you have such a dramatic change in positioning is in and of itself interesting. Again, not anything that like this isn't surprising. Like we've been talking about it, we've been seeing it, and now Bank of America is like, "Yo, look what our clients are doing." And it's like, "Oh, your clients are doing what we're seeing." Okay,
I'm a little confused by that equities line there, second from the bottom, because the rest of these are most of these are equity based things. We have a lot of sectors on there. And then so the outflows are to the U.S. obviously, and to equities
but Spencer,
more broadly.
Look at the bottom 3: U.S. equities and tech. Equities in general is what 60-70% U.S. So like you're double dipping there on both U.S. equities and tech. Right. You're triple dipping is really what's happening there.
Yes, right.
Yeah, it's probably the same meter.
Just like Eurozone in the U.K. and EM.
Right.
Exactly. Right. Okay. Cool. Good.
And cash for that matter. Right, you're coming out of the United States, you're going into those Europe, you're going into cash. Yeah, that's interesting. Okay. Can you throw up the news slide 4, please? Because this one, to me, as like one of the biggest haters of them all, I can't front. This gets me excited. Strazza, everybody just assumes Ethereum's just over. It's just for losers. It's for bag holders. It's a serial underperformer. It didn't get the memo about the bull market, like et cetera, et cetera. We could just keep going. Above 2,100, I'm interested. No? No? Strazza? No love? Did we lose Strazza?
No, we didn't lose. Did we lose? Oh wait, we did. Steve, where'd you go, man? What happened?
Hey, turn my mic on.
I did.
Okay.
You sound
Ethereum,
like Eminem right now.
Interesting would be the word. I like it. 2,000. I'm interested, but I think the broader asset class has to cooperate for a bet on Ethereum.
This is a $240 billion asset. It's probably 250 now, but man, this is so think about what the Bitcoin dominance is going to do if this thing gets going. That Bitcoin dominance is going to fall off a cliff.
So yeah, they're bigger than IBM. Incredible.
Yeah, this is a big deal. Also financials, the outperformance out of financials has just been, these are the types of things that we see in bull markets is financials outperforming. I believe now 3 consecutive quarters we're going on financials outperforming the S&P 500. That's something you normally see in healthy environments. If you could throw up the new slide 5 there, Spencer, new all-time highs for the CME group, new all-time highs for ICE. How do you feel about these exchanges, Strazza? Like, they're technically they're financials, they're broker dealers, but you and I always talk about how they're technically something else. If anything, they might be technology.
They're just data companies, yeah.
They're just data companies. They're toll booths. How do you feel about this?
They've just been a lot of them have been leaders for a really long time. In the case of ICE, yeah, I think they're fine. They're boring stocks, but they're good. The quality stocks.
This is one of those things where it's like, are they actually financials, right? Or are they something else? And then I look at the largest component of the financials index, which happens to be one Berkshire Hathaway. Berkshire Hathaway closed the week on new all-time highs as well.
Speaking of, is it a financial?
Speaking of, is it a financial? Well, Berkshire Hathaway does own a lot of banks and a lot of insurance companies and reinsurance companies. So there's a lot of financials exposure. But I think it's a financial because it's more of like a hedge fund kind of, right? Is that why it's listed as that?
The financials really came in, and they're set up for some entries. Just some textbook retests here.
When you say financials, there's a lot going on there. What specifically are you referring to?
Wells Fargo, you got a nice little pullback tagged to those 2018 highs.
So like these big shitty banks.
Yeah. Citigroup pulled off, undid a massive base breakout, so now you can buy it on strength. I like that. Yeah. There's some stuff here. There's some stuff to do here. Look, if you're going to play bounce, how do you play it? What group do you go to? Do you go to the financials?
I think that some of the more hated groups, obviously stand out to me, because those are the ones that are probably going to bounce the most.
Discretionary. You're talking about discretionary.
Am I talking about discretionary? I think discretionary could be one of them. One of the things that's interesting is that consumer discretionary fell below the prior cycle highs at the index level, but Amazon did not, right? Amazon held those levels, and that's like a quarter of the entire index or 20% of the entire index. So that's a big one. So yeah, you're probably not wrong in the discretionary front. Technology is probably going to be up there too, right?
Do you just dip your toes in and buy Amazon here against like 187?
Yeah, Mary was talking about it last week, remember? And I agreed.
Yeah.
I mean, listen, you got to clean out. You got those prior cycle highs. Breakout above 200 really sets the stage for a squeeze there in Amazon, right?
I like 200. 200's the level for me, I think.
And then Tesla went out strong last week. Obviously hated, and it's up another 4% pre-market. So it's above that key 250 level. So, like I said, the risk with something like a Tesla is that it becomes the largest company in the world and you don't own it because you're butthurt that the CEO is besties with the president. Like,
can we talk about that? I've been thinking about Tesla. You've had me thinking about Tesla because you won't stop talking about it. So I've been thinking.
I don't stop talking about it.
What do you got?
Can you hear me?
Yes. Loud and clear.
Okay.
Steve not is so long much ago. Better. Isn't Steve so much better looking when we can't see his face?
Oh, you're funny. I got a facial this weekend too.
I bought you a present this weekend or last week actually. So I get like a
Yeah.
couple of jabs at you because I've been so nice. I've been too nice. I shouldn't have bought you this, but I couldn't
Don't
help
get me
myself.
started. Don't get me started. The way you give gifts is weird. Okay. I'm not gonna go there. Listen, a year ago, we used to talk
I
about
bought you
Tesla.
that. I bought you that knife that one time. You like that, huh?
I still use my Japanese knife. Yes.
The nice, a good knife. You need a good
It's a
knife.
good
We gotta
knife.
get
It's a great
Spencer a
knife.
knife with
It's a
his
great
fucking
knife.
fake garlic.
Knife is a good gift.
Yeah,
You
knife
know,
is a good gift.
everybody needs a good knife. Can I speak on Tesla?
Yeah.
So a year ago, I would come on the show and I would say, look, I don't understand the valuation because this company's valued as if it's only going to be Tesla on the road. And then my next thought would always be, but that can never work because I know for a fact there are certain people. Do you know the truck people? Do you guys have truck people friends? I got a lot of truck people friends. Okay. They got
Do
big
you?
trucks. Yeah, yeah, yeah. The giant trucks.
Yeah.
They can't even fit on the roads down here.
Oh, not like truck drivers. They just own a truck.
Like it's like cool to drive trucks. Okay. I don't
That's a
understand it.
Floridian thing. That's not actually cool.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
don't have that.
When I was growing up, we drove like fast cars. Like you wanted like an Acura Integra or something cool. Now it's like trucks and Jeeps. So anyway,
Acura Integra.
I just felt like back then that there was about a good deal of the population who they were never Tesla people. They would never drive Teslas, right?
Mhm.
Are those people in now? Is that what's happening here? Like, did Elon find a way to make it so that everybody cannot hate Tesla now? Like, is he winning those people somehow right now through this? Do you get what I'm saying?
No.
Maybe there's a little bit to that, but like Ford kind of proved that those people that you're talking about, Steve, are not going to drive an electric truck, right? Like an electric pickup truck. They're just
But
not.
what if they love Elon now because of politics?
No, you're not wrong.
Yeah,
The
but like,
Republicans are getting on the Elon bandwagon.
yeah,
It's actually pretty funny.
and I am just anecdotally seeing more Cybertrucks than I was before. That could just be a function of the fact that they're delivering more than they're getting through the deliveries. Frankly, I don't know. I'm not sure how that would
Thought.
how that would translate to the
I don't
actual.
know either. But
Yeah,
it's just something I'm thinking about.
I don't know. To the people that are like crying about Tesla's valuation, I mean, where the hell have you been for the last like 7 years? Because it's been the same story for like more than 7 years, probably on this company.
I think
on
some
this
people
stock,
just like to have
right?
pickup trucks. Like, in some cases, Harmonder's right. It's like little man syndrome. They're overcompensating for something else.
Yeah.
In other cases, like they just feel like they just need to move things around. Like I don't need to move anything around. I don't know what I would do with a pickup truck.
If you have a
Here's
truck, you better be putting stuff in the back of
you
it.
better be putting stuff in the back, and I just don't
Yeah.
have things to put back there. So like, there's
Right.
just no reason. So here's the tampon guy dancing on stage, talking about how it helps him get through his day,
So
seeing
good.
on his phone that the
Why are we
Tesla
still
stock is going down.
on this, man?
So-
This is a former presidential candidate
Vice
who's ripping
presidential.
a company that employs 125,000 Americans.
Vice
Like,
president-
what
vice
a
presidential.
loser this guy
He was
is.
the president?
Vice presidential.
Vice
I didn't know he was
presidential
president.
candidate.
I was at a diner. Listen, I was at the diner yesterday, and I'm eavesdropping on the conversation that's going on the table next to me. One
That's half the
guy,
fun of being in the diner.
yeah, exactly. So one guy is saying to the other guy, "Don't worry about Tesla stock price right now. He's working on more important things." And he's explaining to the other guy that he's eating breakfast with that it's okay. Elon's doing more important things. Just ignore the Tesla stock price. Politics are crazy, man.
Dude.
Yeah, they are. So if we can, there's very weak-minded individuals out there, and it's our job as investors to extract profits from their inability to overcome their mental illness. And if we don't take advantage of that, then what are we even doing here? So, this is what's happening here. I have an interesting one. Speaking of mental illnesses, can you throw up that slide 6 there, please, Spencer? So this was a really interesting one. So this one came from Ari Wald over the weekend. Shout out Ari Wald. I say it all the time. Ari Wald, one of the best in the business. Like, he is in that top tier category, no question, has been for a long time, and he continues to prove that. So here he's tracking Ari Wald from Oppenheimer, of course, tracking the S&P 500 seasonality over the last 5 years. So this is the near term. So this isn't like a 100-year-old chart. I got asked this weekend, why a 5-year, not a 25-year or a 50-year? There's really no reason at all. just different looks, right? It's just all it is. So this was an interesting look, just the last 5 years. And then on average, the market the market peaks in mid-February, bottoms in mid-March, and then begins to rally on March the 23rd, which was yesterday. Just an interesting chart, I thought. Any thoughts, or just this is nonsense, Strazza?
I'm fine with it. Line go down.
Yeah,
it was bigger.
And now line go back up, maybe.
Yeah, line go back up. Maybe. I just thought it was interesting. Literally peaks in mid-February, bottoms in mid-March, gets going on March 23rd. Like, I'm like, all right. I mean, when you tie in all the sentiment, you tie in the lack of new lows, you tie in all of those things together, it leads me to believe that a rally here based on positioning and the timing is obviously right. Like, seasonality is a secondary indicator, and that's putting it nicely, right?
It's funny. I didn't see this specific chart over the weekend, but I did see mentions of seasonality. And it occurred to me, I haven't heard anyone talk about seasonality in a minute. It's been a minute, right? So here we are talking about it now. Maybe this is why. But
no, I thought this was a really interesting chart. So shout out Ari Wald. He really is the man. And then I got one more. I know we got some guests to hit. Throw up slide 7, Disney.
I was just gonna ask how Snow White was.
I mean, listen, my 4-year-old, she was a little bit scared because the queen, she's a little nasty in the movie. And so my 4-year-old got a little bit scared. And then a couple of times she's like, Daddy, this is really scary. And I was like, do you want to leave? You want to go home? She's like, no, pass the popcorn. I'm like, okay.
That's awesome.
It wasn't that bad. It was like, it was fine. It was fine.
And
the Seven Dwarfs one as funny as I would have thought. Dopey started talking at the end and becomes like the town lecturer. Didn't see that coming. Great. So there was like a Kaiser Sose moment with Dopey, which I thought that me and even my daughter looks at me. She goes, Daddy, Dopey's talking. Not only was he talking, he was just like flowing. He was like a lyricist. He was like didn't see that coming. And the actress isn't. I saw some previews. I thought she was going to be a smoke show. She's fine. So I was a little over the top on her attractiveness. She was fine.
And this was IMAX. You did the IMAX. What's the IMAX experience?
The IMAX. Strazza has IMAX in his retirement account. So shout out IMAX. I was explaining to my daughter. I was like, we're gonna go to IMAX. It's a much bigger screen. It's much louder. It's definitely much louder. Too loud, probably. Maybe I'm just getting old.
Is it worth it?
Is it worth going to IMAX, or is it worth watching the movie?
Going to the IMAX experience.
So. I mean, if you're gonna go to the movies, do it right. You know what I'm saying? Like, you want to go to a cheap sushi restaurant, or you want to go to the good one, right?
I agree.
Like, I think it's probably a good lesson. I don't know how you feel about this, but like, if you are a business person that is looking for profit, right, and you're not like a non-for-profit person, you should probably not say things that are going to piss off all of your audience, right? So like, the actress is going off and, pissed off literally half the country with her statements. And so
what did she say? I missed this. No idea what you're talking about.
She was just saying like, just silly things about how like, back in the 1930s, Snow White was like this. And then, women don't need men anymore and women of power are not embraced. Like, it's not Disney's job to empower women. It's Disney's job to make money for shareholders, dummy. So like, don't say stupid shit like that. Like, you're working for a publicly traded company. So what's going to happen, because you couldn't keep your mouth shut, dummy, future companies are not going to hire you as an actress because you can't shut the fuck up, right? So like, she's hurting herself. She's hurting Disney shareholders. She's hurting everybody involved in the movie production.
Think of the shareholders. Won't somebody think of them?
If you work for a publicly traded company, the shareholders are the only thing that matter, you see. That's how that works. Shareholders. If you don't want to worry about shareholders, then don't work for a publicly traded company, you idiot. I'm long Disney.
Right, agree to disagree.
So anyway, she's hurting me. She's hurting me and my family.
I see.
Oh boy.
Anyway, we have Kenny in the house. So
so I brought that up to see if you guys disagreed. You don't disagree at all? She should have shut the fuck up.
I don't think it matters. This movie was never gonna do well, I think. So, it is what it is. Maybe they need to, make some, I don't know, make good movies. I know that's easier said than done, but just,
I know,
make
but the
good.
point is make good movies. You don't have to make movies to like empower women. Like that's not the goal. The goal is to increase shareholder value. There's a big difference between the two.
Okay. Anyway, moving on. Yeah, I look. You're talking to a guy that's owned Disney for years. I've never sold. I don't know if I ever will, just because
I'm a new shareholder.
Yeah,
and I definitely will sell.
Okay.
White Lotus was really good this weekend, and the women in that are hilarious.
Wonderful.
Okay.
I have not watched season 2. No spoilers, please. All right, let's bring on Mr. Kenny Glick and see what he's doing amidst this green tape this morning.
It's been a long time coming. They ain't come from my club, they took it. Putting up numbers, 99 pounds, and I still kept it 100. Hola. Yeah.
Oh, excuse me. We're here to see Mr. Kenny Glick. Do you know where we can find him?
I don't know who this guy is, but I wrote a book 8 years ago. Hello. I've been calling the market wrong ever since I wrote this book. I don't know why people even like me. I think it's because of my hair. Can I start a service with you, JC? I'm doing like $100,000 a month now, right now. Just sign me up. Sign me up. I wrote a book.
No comment.
I think we just top ticked the week. I don't think we can outperform anymore. That was as good as it gets. You're like if Altucher and George Noble had a baby in hell or something,
What's up?
Oh, nothing. Just wondering whether this is a continuation of the bull market that we've had over the last couple of years, or if this is a fade the bounce post first fall day, Steve Strazza. So we'll get back to that after Kenny and Greg. But those are just the things that are going on in my mind. Generally speaking, I'm seeing a lot of positives out there. Copper wouldn't be making new all-time highs if the world is about to fall apart. China and Germany and Europe and Latin America and Africa wouldn't be breaking out to 52-week highs if the world was about to fall apart. So I'm just not seeing the world falling apart. So if the world's not falling apart and we're in a bull market, historically, it pays well to own stocks.
Yeah, look at my face. Bull market's back. My dad bought in last week. We called him up. I said, Dad, did you buy yet? He's like, yeah, I bought some. So I guess it's over. Bull market's never going away. It's never going away. My dad's been buying dips in the Q since 2003. So he finally stepped up about, again, of course, he outsmarted the market again, right? 477 was his entry on the Qs. So I don't know. Bull market, bear market. I was on with Dennis Dick and Joel Connon last week, and they were super bearish too. And
were they?
Yeah, Joel said to me, he's like, I heard you're the most bullish bear in the world. I'm like, no, it's because I live through reality. That shorting is short-lived, and you're going to die.
And what are those guys so bearish about, out of curiosity?
They just look at. They were talking about COVID lows. They were talking. I was like, did you just say COVID lows? Okay, now you guys you're crazier than I am. COVID lows.
What was their reasoning out of curiosity?
It's just they're just not feeling good about the market. So I was like, let's just wait and see. That's a great place to be. Wait and see. Let's see if we actually break 466 on the Qs. Let's see if we break the double bottom that just held. Let's see if volatility ever comes back. UVXY's crashed. Usually that's the all clear sign. Listen, I've been a victim to the bull market my whole life. And I'm not going to be victimized ever again. That's why I'm a day trader. So I come in a day like this and I'm like, you know what? I'm just taking a day off. So again, you had this rip into the close on Friday, and the rip, here's your gap. If it doesn't fade, I ain't trading today. So if we're not fading, we're not trading today. So I'm not looking at any individual stocks. I'm looking right at the Qs. If we don't give any of this back, then I'm just going to sit here and just admire the bull market like my father does.
So then correct me if I'm wrong. You're going to go in there looking to short the Qs, but if the Qs don't break that VWAP, there's nothing for you to do, and you're just going to chill out and do 200 push-ups.
Yes, that's what I'm going to do. And I'm just going to try to, figure out what the hell happened to St. John's. That was the ugliest game I had watched. And it wasn't ugly good. I don't want to hear any commentary about that. That was the ugliest game. I hadn't watched the St. I'll be honest, I never watched a St. John's game all year. But again, if I'm going to have a rooting interest, I'm going to go New York. Wow, that was awful. But finally, how about those Maryland Terps? Come on.
About him. Spencer, man, giddy like a little schoolgirl this morning.
Now that was a fun game. Finally, that was the only. I mean, this is the worst tournament I have watched in 25 years. At least we had something. We had something exciting there in the Colorado.
Dude, we were at dinner the other night with Spencer, like I don't know, a few weeks ago, and Spencer's got like the Terps game, and then they lost like with that half-court shot, like literally Spencer was like a dagger to his heart. Who'd they lose to, Spencer, on that last-minute shot?
That was Michigan State.
That was Michigan.
Yeah.
Michigan State looks good. So there, again,
Spencer was like overtime. Wait, did that just happen?
Yeah. Some of the old school teams are back. I mean, Michigan State's been, they're always there, but they just kind of always fall apart. But I got some rooting interest. I guess Michigan State and Maryland. My best friend's daughter goes to Maryland. So,
give us another name. Kenny. I know you're looking at the cues. Any names out there that stand out this morning?
I'm going to go back and take a look at what we traded on Friday, the FedEx, the MU, see where we're staying on that. We had some good trades in FedEx, so I'm going to see if it follows through, but there might be some.
So the FedEx got crushed on Friday. You bought the bounce back. That rallied throughout the day.
That's a good conversation. It's a good conversation to have right now. I remember we were talking about Nike that morning, and I was looking for a certain price to get hit. I don't have my charts up right now, but when they keep fading pre-market right into the open, that just gives you a better buying opportunity. So again, as your bear here, everything we did was buying on Friday. Everything we did. FedEx was a buy, Nike was a buy, Lennar was a buy, the Qs were a buy, and we had a 1,600% move into the close. And it was crazy because I was talking to Joel and Dennis, they're bearish. I was talking to Vaz, she's bearish. I'm like, aren't I supposed to be the bear here? We're sitting here waiting for a.
What are all these people so bearish about, you think?
I don't know, because I think it's became the fad. Like, I don't want to say, but yeah, it's kind of, it was the fad for a second there, and then the joke is we were seeing things where I'm like, okay, and I was saying this because I was bearish, 6 weeks ago, we did all right. I might have to even get out of this Carvana short, but when they start talking recession, I was like, aha, it's over. It's over. Bear market's over. Now they're talking recession. And just like when they started talking the ouster of Elon Musk from Tesla, I'm like, what did that guy just say? All right, I got to buy Tesla now. So that's it. Once we get to that point where I was waiting for people start recession. I'm just waiting for somebody to say there's an asteroid coming to kill us all, and then I'll start buying stocks and
coming in 2032, I believe.
It's coming.
No, I'm serious.
Yeah, I know. It's out there.
It's out there. Actually, you know what? I just got an update from my neighbor who's chief of staff of NASA. I think he said that it's going to miss now. I think it changed course and it's not going to hit us anymore. I think that was the latest update.
That's cool. That's cool.
We were definitely not sober during those conversations, so it's a little blurry, but I'm pretty sure that's what he said.
What is something crazy? I was at that bachelor party 2 weeks ago, and one of the guys' fathers works in Area 51, and he wanted to let everybody know there are no aliens.
I know. He told me that too. There's no aliens. They
no
just
aliens.
like when they get like Russian planes and they steal Russian planes and they get like all kinds of stuff, they like play around with the toys and test them over there and stuff. There's no aliens.
Yeah,
that was a bummer. He's like, sorry, JC.
And the drones weren't aliens either, so I'm kind of upset. Yeah.
All right.
But I'm just sitting back. I'm going to watch those same stocks we looked at. Nike, FedEx, Lennar, MU. Again, obviously the dip was bought. So if there's no fading, I'm not trading. I'll just sit back. But here's the thing: these conversations we're have, I'm sure there's going to be something to do today.
That's why I asked you. Are you sure there's no name? And you threw out a couple of names, so that's interesting. Follow everybody. Kenny Glick.
Yeah.
Hitthebid.com. Maybe one of the greatest website domains of all time. Hitthebid.com.
Thank you. I am also writing a book, so I'm going to get that. I'm going to actually get it.
Why is everybody writing a book? Strazza's writing a book now. He's like, I'm going to go to Columbia to write my book. I'm like, all right.
I just need a good name for it. I got so many names, but I did once. Where's that book that I wrote? It was a #1 bestseller for a while there. All right, there it is. Infinitesimally Small Balls. It's a story about how I lost all my money as a bear. So it's actually a good story. It's only 3 pages long. I just pretended to make the cover there. That's me, guys, with hair. Look at me. All right, I'm out of here. See you guys. Good luck today.
Oh, Kenny Glick in the house. Hitthebid.com, ladies and gentlemen. I have a funny feeling that there will be some trades. Probably looking, knowing him, he'll probably be looking to fade some of these markets if they roll over. If not, there's nothing to do. I don't know if there are any big pre-market movers to the downside that he could scoop up to the upside, but those follow-througs from FedEx and Micron from last week, I like that.
Couple things about Kenny. First, he like scared the bejesus out of me like 15 minutes ago because I didn't realize I had his room open and he just started talking in my ear and I scared the crap out of me. That's the first thing. Second thing was Kenny had a great Saturday session. Saturday he was live from like noon to I don't know exactly, maybe 2:30. And he was just ripping through charts. And if you are a member of Hit the Bid, you were there. You'll get the recording. It was recorded, so we'll send it out today to everyone who was there or who is a member of the room. And he's going to be doing that more and more. So we'll talk about that before he does it next time. But kudos to Kenny. You know, Saturdays or weekends are great times for education and without having the distraction of an open market and open positions, and he crushed it. So great job, Kenny. Great job. All right, we are waiting. I was just on with Greg Harmon. He is going to be joining us momentarily as soon as he gets the link, which I just sent him. So we'll have him stop by. He sent over a chart of the SPY and the Qs. So we'll talk about that with him when he hops in. Before we do that, oh wait, as I say that, he is here.
Ooh,
here is he. Let's do it.
Yo, Jay, we've been friends for a long time. Make the call.
I mean, this is pretty professional, guys.
Nice show you got going here.
Greg.
JC, how you doing?
What's up, my man? How are you?
I'm doing okay.
Ladies and gentlemen, Mr. Greg Harmon, an OG. Like you truly are an OG. I don't know. I don't know if people realize what's happening here. Greg Harmon has been blogging about technical analysis before I knew what a blog was.
Whoa.
Greg Harmon is a guy that Josh Brown, I was talking to Josh, this is back in the old days, and I was like, oh, I don't know if I'm allowed to have a blog because of compliance and blah, blah, blah. He's like, look at Greg Harmon. He has a blog, right? And so you were the guy. You were the inspiration, right? If it wasn't for you, then all these people wouldn't have to deal with my bullshit. It's all your fault, Greg.
It's all, pin it all on me, JC.
Well, I'm telling you the story. That's a true story. How's Ohio?
Ohio is getting good. It's getting a little bit warmer here. It's a little less snow. Hopefully we're done for the year. But you're out in the country there in Pennsylvania now too, right? So you get a lot of that stuff.
I am. Not bad. This was supposedly like the worst winter ever. It wasn't that bad. I'm like, if this isn't bad, we're like super far south. That's the thing, right? So we're like west of like Staten Island, basically. So
okay.
It's not. I mean, I'm like, this is as bad as it gets. Like, I could do this. It doesn't get too cold. It doesn't get too hot. It's not bad.
Yeah, we had a stretch of about 3 weeks where it snowed about an inch every day.
Oh, that's terrible. We definitely don't have anything like that. I think we might be a little too far south. But Greg, let's talk about this bull market. We're in the third year of a bull market. I got people telling me about recessions and bear markets and like all of these things. When I look around the world and I see all these all-time highs all over Europe, new 52-week highs in China and Latin America, Africa, copper making all-time highs, like none of those things strike me as like, earth-ending developments, right? They strike me as healthy developments around the world. And historically speaking, in bull markets, investors who own stocks tend to be better off than those who are shorting them. And so, when I look at these sorts of pullbacks, particularly in the United States, without the participation globally, I want to spend my time looking for stocks to buy. You think that's wrong, Greg?
No, I don't think that's wrong. I think that's right. I think you've been pointing out from what I've seen you've been posting lately about rotation for quite a while. And it's just a movement of the rotation out of U.S. stocks this time. It had started among sectors within the U.S. and now it's moving into the foreign markets. So it's just everybody's participating, but just at different times.
You know, when we talk about how sector rotation is the lifeblood of a bull market, you think it's fair to include international rotation as part of that rotation conversation? Or, you know, because I get hated on, you know, when I'm like, they're like, oh, the market's correcting. I'm like, yeah, but Poland's making all-time highs. Like, nobody fucking owns Poland, JC. I'm like, well, why is that my fault that nobody owns Poland that goes up every freaking day? Like, why is it my fault that your friends don't own Poland, right? Like, is it fair to include that as part of the rotation?
I think that is fair, and I'm going to bring it back to kind of a technical economic kind of theory, and it's around money, right? That the cost of money globally is changing, so that the dynamics that where we used to have with Japan having zero interest rates and people would borrow money in Japan and invest it in the U.S. because the U.S. was a big market. Those kind of dynamics between countries are changing a bit. So we're going to see some rotation between countries at this point now too. And you should expect that with the news about tariffs and the uncertainty that people are talking about. There's going to be money moving around, but money is going into markets. That's the thing, right? It's going into markets. It's just not going into the U.S. market right now. It's going from the U.S. market to places like Poland, like you said, at this point. But it's just a rotation of money involved in markets, and it's going to come back at some point.
Is this the point? Is that what we're seeing over the last couple of weeks as the new lows list? Like with each lower low in the S&P 500 for 3 weeks straight, fewer stocks were actually making new lows, which I thought was really interesting. And now the indexes are participating to the upside. Do you think that was it?
I think it could be it. I sent Spencer a couple charts this morning.
We got them.
I don't know which one you got there first.
So this is SPY.
The SPY. Yeah, so this the SPY. So there's a couple of things that happened, right? We hit the low was a week ago Thursday. So not 2 days ago, not 2 trading days ago, but a week before that. And if you look at where it stopped and why it stopped, or some of the things that were happening in the world as it stopped, we had the second kind of or third kind of week of on again, off again tariffs. We got through we're heading into the FOMC meeting, but if you look at the bottom tail of that candle and where it stopped, it had already come back to retest the 161.8%. Extension of the retracement of the 2022 low, the drop back. But if you look from the August bottom last year to the top, it also just ticked a 61.8% retracement of that gain. So it's a place where it would make sense for it to stop and turn around if it was going to do that. And then you toss in some of that crazy stuff, right? It was a new moon and a lunar eclipse, or a full moon and the lunar eclipse. So these are things that have been moving markets for the past 6-9 months or so.
You think the lunar eclipse is part of the changing of the tides? And I don't just mean the ocean tides, but the market tides. You think there's something there, Greg?
I don't know, but I know that the people that follow that stuff closely have been pointing it out, that it's been around within 1 or 2 days of things like eclipses and of full moons and new moons, where we've seen short-term bottoms.
What is a new moon? Excuse my ignorance here. Isn't it the same old moon? Are there new moons now? How does that work?
Yeah, no, it's just a phase of the moon where it's like the opposite of the full moon. When you see the full moon up in the sky, you see the whole moon, and the new moon is you don't see it.
Oh, wow. Okay. See, this is the alpha that people come here for, Greg. See, I'm learning. Spencer, you didn't know that shit. You didn't know that either.
I definitely used to know that. I don't know it now.
Yeah, I may have known it at one point, but I definitely didn't know that now. Got it.
Yeah,
so it's still the same moon. You're just calling it a new one.
Yeah. Get Chris Carroll on here to talk about that stuff. He's big into that stuff.
And Bartoloni. We should just throw these lunatics in a room together and see what happens, is what we should do.
Yeah.
Lunatic comes from lunatic. I learned that recently too. Did you know
But
that one, Greg?
Yeah.
Oh, you didn't know that one? Oh, I thought that was clever.
Yeah. But yeah, it's those kinds of things, right? We had already gone through the 200-day moving average. We had done a lot of these resets, right? Momentum gauges had reset down to bear territory. So it's like ready to go, ready to turn around. It's a good spot for it to turn around if it's going to turn around.
All right, rock and roll. I'm into it. Talk to me about the Qs. This one for me is the more important one based on my work that does not include new moons or old ones. No moons involved at all in my process. Maybe it will one day. Maybe I'm missing out on that alpha. I don't know. But I can tell you that this 500 level on the Qs for me is a monster. That's the 161.8% extension of that entire, 21, 22, 23 correction there. So the 500 is a big one, whether psychologically or not. But certainly the psychological aspect of Qs at 500 is a big one. But more importantly than that, that's a big extension. So do you think the Qs recover and off to the races?
Yeah, I think the Qs have kind of the same thing going for it, right? The bottom for the Qs last week or so ago was not at that 161.8. It went through that, but it was at the 138.2% extension, which was also like almost within 50 cents of the 61.8% retracement of the move from the August low to the top. So the same kind of thing backing up there. And you'd gone through the 200-day, you'd reset momentum. It's a good spot. It's not saying, I'm not trying to say that, oh yeah, absolutely, go all in. But I'm saying if it wants to turn around, that would be a spot where you'd expect to see the possibility of that happening.
Greg, as a Renaissance man like yourself that looks at a lot of things, the sentiment is fascinating to me. Seeing newsletter writers, individual investors at puke levels, only seen very few times throughout history, and with all these markets all over the world making new all-time highs, such dramatic pessimism is like, wow. What do you make of that? Do you ignore it? Do you pay attention? Do you think there's something there? What do you think?
I do think that it's making a difference in why we've had the pullback that we've had, but it almost strikes me as being irrational. That it's almost like I don't know what's going on in the news, all the politics that's out there, and people are looking at the political events that are happening and saying uncertainty means that I got to sell, and I think that means that. If we're going to have tariffs, if we're going to have a trade war with Canada and Mexico, that means that the world's going to change and the economy is going to tank. So it's time for me to sell. But I don't understand that. I mean, I go out to dinner often, and places are full. People are shopping. Everyone's buying stuff.
Flex from Greg Harmon there. I go out to dinner often. I like that subtle flex there. I like that. All right, go ahead.
He has many leather-bound books as well.
And are you a lot of rich mahogany back there, Greg?
Yeah. So it's almost like I don't want to say but it's almost strikes me as being like a political message as opposed to anything else. That there's. The vocal political side of the aisle that has been screaming ever since the election is trying to convince himself that something bad's going to happen. We're trying.
Didn't we see this happen a couple of years ago? Everybody talked themselves into the idea of a recession, and then
we saw it in 2016 when Trump won then, and I was living in California, so I had a front row seat to it. These people were jumping off buildings. 2017, Trump's first year ended up being one of the greatest, least volatile years in American history. Sentiment was down in the dumps before that started. So I think that there's probably an element of that as well. Again, you think it's just libs like virtue signaling and boycotting, making money in bull markets? For some weird reason.
What I always say, I mean, mentions of the word recession are going through the roof, and it's the same thing that happened in 2022, right? And then it it never came, or it did come, but it was
They changed the rules so that we didn't
Yeah.
have a recession.
right.
So that's why I always like to say that recessions are a choice for most of the people who matter in this
Well,
equation, right?
So is
Yeah.
this a case of people just talking themselves into it, just like last time and the time before that?
Yeah, I mean, if you get enough momentum behind a discussion like that, you're going to get to the point where CEOs and decision makers in the corporate world are going to stop spending money, and then it happens, right? That's a big part of it. If we don't have capex going on, if we don't have companies that are reinvesting and making new things and trying to sell more, if they're convinced that they don't need to produce, then that's a good part of GDP, right?
Yeah.
Greg, what about what's happening around the world? You know, you are a world traveler. You know, you did a lot of traveling in your day. You've been around. You know, when you see what's happening in Latin America and throughout Europe and in Asia and even in Africa, you know, as an American US investor with the ability to do anything you want and invest anywhere you want, and open-minded enough, someone like yourself to participate anywhere you want. What do you make of this just very aggressive rotation internationally, like some of the most aggressive ever?
Yeah, I mean, it's been brewing for a while, right? We started seeing it in Japan, maybe 6 months ago or something like that.
September in China.
Yep, and then we got the big European countries, Germany, France, picking up as well,
Yeah.
and just starting to see it broadening out, right? Yeah, it's definitely got a lot of momentum behind it now. You got economists and strategists talking about just going like way over the top now, saying, "Oh, well, the world markets are going to outperform the U.S. for the next 10 to 15 years." So, like, how do you know what's going to happen 10 years from now? I don't know, but these are the kind of extremes that we're starting to see now. So it's another thing, another item in that that toolkit that says maybe if we're going to see a change into money flowing back into the U.S. market, this would be a time for it to happen. If the sentiment is so extreme in the international markets now.
Singapore just closed at new all-time highs today for those keeping score at home. Shout out Singapore. Poland acting well. India really ripping. Indian rupee hitting the highest levels all year. The Sensex just absolutely ripping. Look at this thing. Wow. What a move from the Sensex. Shout out Bombay. Greg, what do you think nobody's talking about? What are you seeing out there, when you're doing your work? You're listening to your rap music and, you're doing your charting, and you're just like, wow, does nobody see this? Like, what are you seeing out there that you don't think anybody's talking about?
I don't know that nobody's talking about it, but I think that the pullback in the dollar is totally against what everyone thought was going to happen, right? They thought the dollar
As usual,
yeah,
Greg.
yeah. So we thought that the dollar is going to continue to be strong, but we've moved on the Dixie down from 110 to 103, and found some support there. So with a little bit weaker dollar, that's changing the dynamics, I think, as well. Everyone, I think you should have expected that the yen would be strong against the dollar, but not the dollar versus Europe would start looking weak.
The positioning in Euro and Swissy was off the charts at the end of last year. Like, just all the specs betting against Euro, betting against Swissy, commercial hedgers loading up on those things. The market just got caught off sides. My question to you about the dollar is, just the dramatic nature of this correction in the US dollar really has only accelerated that rotation internationally, right? Like, there's a lot there to the point where I think these mega cap, growth names in the United States have essentially been used as a source of funds to provide liquidity for that rotation, right? You think there's something there?
Yeah, absolutely. Moving down from 110 to 103 is a huge move.
Yeah.
And, we haven't seen these big moves over short periods of time in a long time. But we're seeing them now with this dynamic.
What about the lack of volatility in the fixed income market, considering how much volatility we're seeing in Forex? Isn't that interesting? Not much going on out there.
Yeah, it's kind of crazy that the 10-year has been in that range, like from 420 to 440 for such a long time, dipped down to like 410, and then kind of bounced back into that range. And despite everything that's been going on, it's still been doing that, right? So that's a little bit odd.
The market likes that lack of movement in the 10-year, though, doesn't it, Greg?
It seems like it.
Yeah, seems like it. You know, it's the volatility in the bond market that the stock market don't like, but just haven't seen it, which is interesting considering what's happening in Forex. You're just not seeing that spill into fixed income.
Yeah, it's you see it a little more in the 30-year, but not in the 10-year. The 10-year's been pretty stable, like you said. Yeah.
Greg, what do you think is going to throw a wrench in this whole thing, right? You know, I don't want to be, you know, Pollyanna, rah, bull market, everything's great. There's some things out there that are like, that's not so good. What do you think's the big catalyst out there that could potentially just unwind this whole thing? And we do go into a bear market and a recession. Any one or two things that are on your radar that you think we should keep an eye on?
The I word, inflation.
The I word. Okay.
Yeah. Inflation is it. If we see inflation tick up some more, going from 2.6 to 2.8 is not a big deal. You can't expect we're going to go straight line down from 8% down to 2% without any pauses along the way or any bumps along the road. But if we start to see 3.5, 3 3/4, that's definitely going to have the potential to derail everything.
Because you're talking rate hikes there.
Yeah, I think you are. Right now, we've got no cuts, or we've moved back and forth between no cuts to 2 cuts, and we're kind of at the 2 cuts this year kind of place. And I think the market's comfortable with that it's going to happen. It's like, okay, I don't know when it's going to happen, but it's going to happen. So we're in that cut environment, so we're okay. But if we move to the point where we were like 9 months ago, where it was kind of like there's potential that there's not going to be a cut because the economy is still too strong and inflation is not coming down fast enough. Or the scenario that I painted there, if inflation is actually rising, that could be a problem.
Greg, last question: are you buying this? You buying this Tesla dip with the tampon guy dancing on stage? You've been around longer than me. Is that what bottoms look like, Greg?
It seems like it, doesn't it?
It does, doesn't it? It does. I would love, just for humor. It's not even about the money that I'm going to make. Just for the humor, to be able to point back at the tampon bottom of Tesla, that would be pretty awesome.
Dude, I don't know. Everyone's talking about this stock. I don't know why you're picking on him in particular. Everyone's talking about it, right? I mean,
see what happens. I guess we'll see.
Yeah, all right. Greg Harmon, everyone.
This is Greg Harmon, OG over here. OG. If you don't know, now you know. Greg Harmon, OG. We love you, brother.
Thanks, JC. Spencer, good to talk to you guys.
Likewise.
Go get him, buddy. Greg Harmon, dude, legend.
I
feel like some people don't know that.
Case Western, right? Do I have that right, Greg? Correct me if I'm wrong. Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
Follow Harmon Greg. Harmon Greg. I just tweeted it out. Give him a follow.
Give him a follow, indeed.
Give him a follow.
All right. Strazza's here, and Jason Perez is in the house.
I like how Kenny calls him Strazza.
I just want to go on the record and say I believe aliens are real, and I'm fading both you and Kenny's inside.
For the record, I believe aliens are real too. I just know for a fact that they're not in Area 51.
You don't know that for a fact.
That's perfect.
I got intel. I got more intel than you, bro.
He's
you got
lying.
Truck drivers. I got NASA guys.
They're lying to you. That's how they keep the secret.
Yeah, maybe. You can ask him yourself. We're gonna go play golf with him.
What is a scarier proposition? That we are alone?
I think it would be ignorant. I think it would be ignorant to believe that there isn't other life forms somewhere.
They're definitely aliens.
It might not be in the Milky Way. It might be like in the Snickers or the Crunch. It might be in one of those other ones.
It could be.
I knew a guy who was abducted.
There's a movie coming out called Elio, and it's about a kid who gets abducted by aliens, and he goes into space and he accidentally convinces the aliens that he's in charge of Earth and he's like the leader of Earthlings, and he's just like this like 7-year-old kid.
Probably a
Looks
true
pretty
story.
good. I'm gonna go watch it.
Elon Musk is probably one of the aliens.
No, I just think he's just on the spectrum. I don't think he's an alien.
He's just a really weird guy.
He's just a little out there.
Yeah.
But you need to be.
The memes are so good.
He's the richest guy in the world. Do you think there's not a little bit something odd about him?
Oh,
He's the richest person in the world.
There's a lot odd.
Hold on. He made $180 million on the PayPal. Then he invested $100 million in Tesla, another $50 million in SpaceX, another $20 million in something else.
Solar
and then
City.
had no money.
Yeah.
And then had to sleep on people's couches. Like this is the thought process here.
Elon, whoever the hell Mark Zuckerberg hired to like reverse his image, that's who Elon needs to hire because Zuck is cool now. All right. that's what Elon needs.
Right.
All right.
I think Elon was cool like a few years ago, right? Wasn't
Yeah,
cool?
he went the other way. He needs to go
went the other way.
He needs to do a 360.
Yeah, all right.
Okay, we got Jason Pros in the house. Let's bring him on and then I don't know. JP,
Morning, guys.
what's going on? JC is back. What's up,
Hi,
man? How we doing?
Chilling. I'm glad I wasn't on that conversation. I could take everybody down like the craziest rabbit holes on history. So we'll just bypass the aliens.
Well, no, we're not just going to bypass
we
it.
should bypass
aliens,
it, man.
aliens, Jason, yes or no?
Yes, but there's a bunch of different things about it. So yes, maybe there's ones that are coming from outer space. We can't say that for sure. It's just like you said about Area 51. Yeah, I don't know. There's an interesting history about that though, which is supposedly back in the Cold War, Stalin actually took humans, did experiments on them, and their heads got very big, and he made a spaceship. This is all actually there's a book on this. And so he made a spaceship, he sent it to the United States, it crashed in that area. And then people got out and they looked all crazy and they were freaking out and they were all green. Their heads were all big. And that's supposedly where the first landing in Area 51 kind of happened. And so there's a bunch of interesting things about it that have been said over the years. But that was actually a CIA document. There's a bunch of CIA documents about this stuff. So if you go actually to the CIA docs and just go through it, it'll blow your mind.
Aliens could just be genetically modified space people.
Or what if they're from Hollow Earth, man? I mean, we could go on and on. Right?
Okay.
That's why I said let's pass it up.
That's where Elon Musk is from. That's why he's got the tunnel company.
It all makes sense now. It all makes sense now.
I got you guys, so we're good.
Yeah.
Now let's
all
get
right,
back to the
Jason,
chart.
what are we watching this morning?
So I think I'm on slide 13. I put a little bit past
Okay.
everybody's just so you guys had room. But whatever the first one I started at should be 13.
What do we got here? What is this?
Let's see. Okay, so this is from Grant.
Oh,
Hell
yeah.
And shout out to Grant, man. He always puts out really good stuff. But this is a beautiful chart, just kind of showing that massive rate of change, RSI, breaking out to new highs that we haven't seen the whole time VU has been listed as an ETF. So that's kind of a change in character, and so I love this chart from Grant because it's just hey, this something has changed. Once again, everybody's going to be every pullback, everybody's going to be this isn't happening. Look how dumb you guys were about China. But literally, this is telling you that something has changed. Something has changed. Now we need to start looking at things outside of the United States and taking it seriously. That doesn't mean that there's not areas in the inside of the United States to buy. That just means that, hey, maybe big tech's going to slow down for a little bit. Maybe these other areas will be where the outperformance is right now. And I think that's just important to say. Maybe that's where the outperformance is for the next quarter. Could be a year. I'm thinking longer. But once again, as a trader, it doesn't matter. We get along where the relative strength is, and we continue to hold those trends.
What are the chances or the odds at this point, Jason, that this is just yet another huge international leadership head fake?
Of course, that's always going to be a thing. But once again, it's what are we as traders? Are we people who predict the future, or are we people who go, this is where relative strength is? So we're going to find relative strength. If people were seeing relative strength in tech stocks today, everybody would be buying it. Nobody would even second guess it. But we're seeing it in international stocks. We're seeing it in precious metals and so on. So it's areas that a lot of people aren't very comfortable with trading. So I think it's just find the strength, continue to follow that. When that changes, I'll be happy to move back into tech stocks, but if that isn't changing, I'm very happy owning these things that are outperforming, putting us, we have a great return this year so far. And the reason is we're not in the United States pretty heavily. We have a couple sectors, energy being one of them, gold miners, there's some sectors that are really outperforming. Speaking of which,
Wow.
so we're seeing energy is the leading sector in the United States, followed by healthcare. Gold is way above all of those. Silver even above that, which is cool to finally see silver outperforming. It's been a long time.
And we're looking at spot gold XAU. That's not gold miners, right?
Yes, that's spot gold. Yeah, so looking at spot gold being up 15%, gold miners up over 20 to 25. I think the GXJ might be up even more than 20. But if we look at XLE, it's leading the way, XLV. So, you could say, hey, is this a risk on or a risk off rally? It just looks more to me like a reflationary rally. Kind of saying, inflation is kind of coming into the market. But once again, we aren't seeing that in the oil price just yet, but we are seeing it everywhere else, whether it's precious metals or copper, industrial metals, and so on.
Could you have a risk off rally in one asset class and a risk on in another?
For sure. And that's the thing why you always have to be very dynamic in markets, which is, once again, if you go back to 2021, it was a great year for energy, but there was a point where utilities started to massively outperform at some point in 2021, and everybody was like, oh, it's the end of it. And then once again, energy continued to lead the way to end the year. This happens also with technology recently. You got this risk off rally that happens in the summer sometimes. And then next thing you know, technology leads the way year end. It's just find the strength and follow it, and don't think too much about it. It's easy to overthink it and go, yeah, well, tech looks cheap here. Because all traders, when you first start, and Strazza, this, like when you first start, you're like, hey, I want to buy what's cheap. What's on the bottom end here? Oh, there's technology on the bottom end. I want to buy that. That looks cheap. And really, we know cheap can get cheaper, so we want to always follow the relative strength.
You know what was cheap for 15 years?
International stocks?
Oh.
That's right.
Yeah.
Right? Seriously.
That's right.
Seriously. And like, that's the thing. It's just, what are we doing? Are we just trying to make money here? Like, if we're trying to make money, we might as well buy what's making money.
Do we have Meb Faber tomorrow? Is that right? Do I have that right?
That's correct.
Yes.
We're just gonna dive into this. He does the best work in global valuations, so that's awesome.
I love Meb Faber's work, and he's such a mixture of value, trend following, back testing, and just kind of figuring out where to go in the markets. I think traders on here, if you want to learn strategies, learn how to trade, like, man, his white papers, I think everybody I've ever met is like, yeah, I read Meb Faber's white papers. Even if it's somebody, I'll be a financial advisor and they're like, oh yeah, I'm trying to build a system based on Meb Faber's white papers. It's a great starting point. And you can build a ton of strategies and systems, whether it's global, sector wise, asset rotation allocations. Like, I mean, he's built it all, and it's a great starting point.
No, I absolutely love it. Here, let's take one from the chat because I think this is a good question. Straz, Jason, did either of you see Bart last night? He's saying tops are coming here in gold and silver. I'll say this about gold and silver. If you're not already long, I don't love it. I don't love entering right here, right now, when everybody's finally talking about it and, is on the gold train. I don't like it right here. I think you could buy dips, you could buy corrective waves. I think the trend is very much in place and is here for now. So dips can be bought. I don't think you want to go try to top tick gold.
No.
Crazy?
No, I agree. I agree with you, Steve. I think, we've had our position for a long time, since 2023, it gave a false breakdown signal. Then we added to that breakout signal in January 24. Hanging on to it this whole time has been easy. It hasn't broken down at all. But once again, would I buy it today? No. What looks like it's really ready to move and is starting to outperform is silver. Silver is the one that I would think if you are going to take that type of trade, I think it'd be a good time to do it. Speaking about a top though in both of these, yeah, I've heard that there was a bunch of things that got shared around about Peter Brand. He said, it's not going to hit 3,000. Gold never hits these even numbers. It's fun to write stuff about tops. Everybody wants to hear stuff about tops. But the most dangerous thing in the world, because people will be like, it's dangerous to buy gold today. The most dangerous thing to do is bet against a trend. Don't bet against a trend. Let it run. Sit on your hands, run a trailing stop, whatever you have to do, risk manage properly, but don't bet against a trend. Not saying to buy today, but if you're long, stay long.
Okay. Crude oil next.
Crude oil. Let's do it. So what are you thinking, Steve? Do you guys still have your position?
I'm in. I'm
Nice.
in. I really like it against support, and I think there's an element of catch up there just based on the way that energy stocks have performed in recent years.
Strazza, hold on. Strazza, I know you're in. I'm in also, but I got a little bitch of a position, and I kind of feel like a small man. Are you? I feel like you're in a similar position. Like you're in, but you're not in. Do I have that right?
I'm not in names, but I'm in a placeholder for now. So I'll be completely honest with you. I'm in the oil U and the UCO so that I don't feel like the way you're describing, because I was that way at first, but I have a decent sized position now in UCO, which is levered long oil.
Yep.
And oil U. Now, these are not things I would ever hold for too long in my account. Like I said, they're placeholders, and I'm going to find a place for that money in individual names is the idea. That'll give me exposure in the meantime. And we got the USO calls too. Buy some USO calls. I love that here.
The positioning looks great for oil too. It's really set up to what I mean by that is the commercials are buying. These are the people in the know, the producers. And then you also have the large caps, the large speculators, which are hedge funds, institutions. They're selling heavily. This usually leads to a bottom. So I think right now is a great time for a positioning unwind. This thing could absolutely just rip to this top end of the range, about 80. To me, there's the real make or break point. If we can get above 80, I think it's going to keep moving. I did bring a chart of oil. I don't know which one on the deck. It's got to be 15, 16, or it's near the bottom for me. There we go.
New slide 16. New slide 16.
New slide 16. So if you look at this chart, so this is gold, copper, and oil. Oil's on the bottom. So what you're seeing in the blue lines is when gold hits a new 52-week high. So when gold hits a 52-week high, you usually see copper then follow that pretty quickly within the next 6 to 12 months. And then oil follows.
The blue vertical lines are marking gold's new 52-week highs?
Yes. So and then you see copper starts to move right after gold usually, and then oil moves after that. So if you're kind of looking at this, you can see that oil is just like waiting to finally catch up to these both of these commodities here. And once again, it's not trading isn't a perfect science, so I wouldn't just go buying oil today if you're looking for a big trend. To me, I like what Steve is looking for, what JC is looking for as well. Look for the range, possibly hit 80. Once we get above that zone and start making new 52-week highs, which I think could happen this year at some point pretty soon, I think that's when the trend really is going to start heading higher. Really, we got to get above 80. We got to get a close above 80, and then we could hit 100. Then who knows exactly where it goes.
Strazza, I still have those December 26 calls. I'm still in. I mean, obviously. I'm still in those. So I have some there, but then that's on the stock side, but I've been adding to the commodity side, but not anything material.
Those are the XLE calls from a long
remember
time
those?
ago?
I still have those.
Wow. Yeah.
Nice.
Well, they were 3 years out, so we're not even halfway through yet.
Those were Mondo leaps.
They were I think we got in a year and a half ago, and they still don't expire for another year and a half plus.
Those are warrants. Copper's breaking out as
they're called leaps, but yeah.
Yes, right? Steve. Yep,
it's going.
Copper hit a 52-week high last week, so it tapped a 52-week high. It backed off a little bit from it, but it's starting to go up again. I can't see any reason why copper can't make a huge move here.
I like it. Look at the Freeport today. Really nice, big level there.
I think the mining stocks for copper are really about to catch up, and I think that's something that like we all kind of gotta continue to look at here. Is that make sure these things are starting to catch up. Take the trades when they come. Don't just buy it because copper's high. Buy it when the signal on the actual chart is telling you to buy it. But I really do like copper here, like copper miners, like gold miners. Energy's got some more work to do, but I do like it. At least the sector we're still long, but we're not long. And we're long for a short-term trade on oil, but for a real trend in oil, I don't see it just yet. But I think it's coming. I think it's coming soon.
I mean, what we're basically talking about right now is the improving market internals for commodities. There's plenty of stuff to dip your toes in and at least start to like here right now.
Yes. I think generally when we look at markets, I think too many people are so focused on, the S&P 500 is very heavily involved in technology at this point, over 50% if you add in the XLC, which is communications and discretionary sectors. So if you look at those and you're like, hey, this is getting weighed down here. Why is the S&P 500 lagging so much? It's just technology. Technology is lagging a ton right now. So I think a good idea right now is start looking at these other sectors, whether it's commodities, gold miners, copper miners, metals and mining sector probably has a ton of gold mines in there, material sector, whatever it is. If you want to be in the United States, there are areas, but you got to start looking at what's the smallest sectors inside the S&P 500 and stop looking at what's the largest sectors in the S&P 500 because those are lagging at the moment.
Yes, Tampon's getting absolutely lambasted out here today. The TSLL is up 14%.
Nice.
What tampon?
I'm reading the chat.
Oh, Dawson in the chat. Tampons are getting lampooned. I mean, listen, when the tampon guy's dancing on stage talking about how a falling Tesla stock, a company that employs 125,000 Americans, and he's dancing about it, how it, he has trouble getting through his day, but this helps him. Like
low class. Have some
what
class.
a loser!
Moving on.
What a loser!
Moving
People
on.
actually voted for that guy, that?
Dude, why are we still talking about this? I don't understand.
And it's ripping in everybody's face.
Can we get Tampon Tim on? Can we get Tampon Tim on?
Definitely not. Definitely not.
All
right. I'm near recess. Let's
We'll
go.
just throw tampons at him. Like, remember that, like, what George Bush, when they threw the shoe at him and he, like, ducked? You know what I'm talking about?
That was amazing. Yeah.
That was amazing. That was nice reflexes. He was a baseball player, for the record.
That's right.
Golf.
Shout out Bush. Which Bush was that? GW?
That was W.
That was the W.
Yeah.
All right.
Okay. Anyway, recess.
All right, Spencer, Maryland plus 3,000 right now. Do you take it? So everybody understands. $10 will win you about $300. Maryland futures to win the tournament.
Yeah, I mean, I took him in my bracket, so why not double dip, right? I should have mentioned this on Friday. Short Lope, LOPE, because that was our first round opponent, right? Grand Canyon University, a publicly traded company.
Oh, right.
Yeah.
Okay, my mind was blown. And I just want to say, Spencer, that I was right. Did you see the stats? Like, the number one seeds have never won by such a large margin of victory. Like, these teams that shouldn't have been in the tournament, I'm sorry, they all got absolutely crushed. They were losing by 30, 40. You're giving 50 points winning your bets against these teams.
I think this, the tournament is exceptionally random this year. No different. So it is a bit of a weird anomaly how there's a lot of blowouts and a lot of chalk, but no lack of upsets. But my team,
how do you have sports at an online university?
I don't know. But all I know is my team has had the moment of the tournament so far. And I was thinking about this last night / this morning. If someone, I forget where I heard this, but sports fandom, it is a disease. It's a sickness, right? Mm-hmm. It's the exact opposite of the markets, which usually go up. Sometimes they go down, but usually they go up, right? Sports usually disappoint you, and rarely they make you happy. And so when they do make you happy, you have to just hold on to that feeling for as long as you can. Which I'm doing today and will do all week probably, even beyond that for years. Friend, I'll hold on to this moment for years. It was just a great moment, and yeah. So sports, man, they suck until they don't.
We're happy for you, Spencer.
Thank you.
UConn lost. UConn
Steve, I watched every second of your game. I almost texted you, but then I thought, no, I don't want to jinx it. I was pulling for you hard.
It was tragic,
but it wasn't to be. It was not to be.
We outplayed Florida. We outplayed basically the best team in the country for 40 minutes, and we just couldn't make a shot. So they're just not good enough this year, dude. Florida's huge. Florida is just. I mean, every one of their guys had 3 inches on our guys.
I know. Yeah, I'm really worried about Thursday, but you know what? I'm playing with the house money now, so what do I care?
No, I love it. Let's go, Maryland. Yeah. And shout out Victor Hovland. Big win this weekend on the PGA Tour. Shout out golf. Shout out Riley.
Shout out Lando Norris. Big win in China. F1. Okay. Anyway,
I've been digging through. I've been digging.
Oh, not Lando Norris. Oscar Piastri. My bad. Brain fart.
Nobody knows who you're
digging through
talking
old
about.
stuff. We're working on a project here, and also my wife has been telling me that I need to go through my boxes and throw shit away. So it's kind of like a combination of things, and I'm finding, dude, I have so many gems. So I got a couple that I'm going to share today. So this one from September 1974. Big Bad Bear. See that? Newsweek magazine, a bear breaking through like the Kool-Aid man out of the New York Stock Exchange, you know? So this is September 1974. Guess what the low of that bear market was? September 1974, as it turns out. How about
Are you going to hire someone to put all this on your wall?
Hold on, ready? Here's another one. Here's the U.S. News and World Report.
That's what I would do.
You should hire somebody.
So this is a guy, who's riding a bear, like a bull, but it's a bear. How to ride out the bear market, and this is November 1987. Guess when the market bottomed?
JC, what are we going to do when there's officially no magazines left?
November 1987. Dude,
as you're holding these up, I'm like...
I got one more. Sorry, one more.
Yeah.
Ready? The panic about the dollar. It's George Washington dollar on a plane crashing on fire. The panic about the dollar. The dollar had already bottomed by then.
When was that?
That was December 07.
Shout out Panic at the Disco.
So to answer your question, Strazza, how do we keep these magazines? Same way, like sell-side analysts, economists, we need to keep them employed, guys. We have to, I know most of them are useless. I know, but they're useful to us. And we're the only ones that really matter here. So we want to, if things start to happen for the negative, and we start losing journalists and we start losing economists and we start losing magazines, we're starting a GoFundMe account and we're keeping them employed. You heard it here first.
I think you'll never
that charge.
I think magazines will never cease to exist.
We need the data. We need the data.
They will never go away. Maybe in 50 years they might, but not in our lifetimes they won't.
For the record, none of these addresses are mine. You think I subscribe to this shit? You buy them on eBay like a normal person.
No.
Not my address, so I don't care.
Someone said that last week, actually. Yeah, these aren't yours.
You think I would subscribe to U.S. World Report or whatever?
These aren't yours. It's not your address. That's hilarious. Okay.
Not my address.
Quick.
Not 1974, at least.
Wasn't alive. Sorry.
1974. Wasn't even alive. All right. Quick programming note. 3:30 today. We're doing a stream. Strazza, Alfonso, talking about some of the biggest recent insider buys. They're going to rate them. They're going to say, was this smart money? Was this dumb money? Or was this TBD? We don't really know.
We're going to have so much fun doing that.
Yeah. So 3:30, I'll drop the link in the chat. We will send emails out. It'll be on YouTube. It'll be on our site. There it is. It's going to be a good time. So we got that coming up. We got chat request live at 1 o'clock. Send us your emails, questions, or your requests, questions at stockmarketmedia.com. And that's what we got today. So thanks for watching, everyone. Drop us a like if you'd be so kind, and go make some money. All right.
YOLO responsibly.
Yep.
Shout out.
I can't take no loss. I don't even know what it costs.